Locus here, and here's my review on this amazing figure from Tamashii Nations and Bandai. So we do have here the Madoba Hayate from the Makai Kado line. So the original release date of this figure was August of 2017, and I got mine sometime around April of this year, 2018. So as a web exclusive figure, it usually came with a brown mailer box, as you can see here. There's nothing much to see here, but I just want to show you guys that it should came with a brown mirror box too. Like if you're really a nitpicky on the packaging of the figure, I think it would be great if you would have that, so it can secure the quality of the packaging of your figure. Anyway, going back on the figure, so as a web exclusive one, of course, it doesn't came with a preview or a rear view of the figure itself. So the packaging is well sealed, as you can see. So you won't be able to see the figure unless you open it. At the back, there's some short previews of the figure, the rear and front view, and a view where the Makai Kado, the Makai Knight Dan is riding the horse here. By the way, I did made a review of Makai Kado Dan. You can check it out on my channel. So let's go ahead and open the figure. So it came with a stand. Awesome. So here's the actual figure, the Madoba Hayate. As you can see, this is just fresh out of the packaging. So as you can see, there's like a protective plastic for this one. And then there's a protective plastic here as well. I think they're trying to put all of these things to avoid plastic rub on it, especially that I haven't really opened this figure for quite some time, since it arrived last April. Actually, I did order it last year, 2017, sometime around November, I guess. But yeah, it did arrive late. So the plastic is out, the figure is in. Let's start with the scale of the figure. So it stands at least 9.25 inch, including this part here. It's in that scale, 9.25 inch. And then for the width of the figure, it's is at least 10.5 or almost 11 if we would consider the tip of the horse tail. But I think the height really varies depending on how you pose the legs of the figure, the legs of this horse. So yeah. So as you can see, this figure packs with some awesome details. As you can see here, it has some very sharp edges, sharp props and designs. So you really need to be careful once you get hold of this figure. You just need to be careful not to really need to be careful when doing the articulation. You really need to use the base and the stand so it won't fall off from your hands or from your shelf, because once this falls off, any part can break. That's something that I'm damn sure about. So there's some wheel detailing here, very sharp. Same here, same goes here. It's also sharp. Okay, the tail has a very nice detailing. It's on a translucent plastic on the tip here, as you can see. Okay, it's not articulated, unfortunately. I think that's a downer, but not really a huge deal for me, but probably to some it may be. And yeah, it has some nice details and design, as As you can see, the head. Has a very nice paint apps. Let me just adjust the camera. Excuse me. So for the articulation of the figure, it has a joint right here. So as you can see, the back. There you go. So it can move up and down. It tilts a little, as you can see. Okay. And then for the head of the figure itself, it can move a little bit upward and downward. It can tilt a very not so obvious tilt. It's not a huge tilt for me, but probably to some it may be. And then the mouth opens. It has a a violet tongue. I hope you can see it, but yeah, it has a violet tongue. So the mouth opens. Doesn't have an option wherein you can really see the horse face. This one is made out of some texture. It's like a doll's hair. I'm not sure if you have a sister or I've held a Barbie before, but yeah, it kind of feels like it. And then this part here moves. It has a hinge joint right here, a hinge peg right here connected through the upper neck of the figure, and this one. So it moves like that. I think it's in attack mode to impale monsters and such. So yeah, you just need to be careful that the edge here tends to be caught up on the detailing here on the neck, so it might, it's prone for breakage if you're not careful. So yeah. And then for this one, it moves. It doesn't have a ball joint right here, so it's like a peg connected here to the body, so it only does this kind of motion. Okay, it doesn't do much. It doesn't move full upward, and it's really stiff. I'm not sure if this is just because my figure is new, but I don't want to force it. I might end up breaking it. And then this one is on hinge, a single hinge right here. Alright, and then another hinge right here. Doesn't move sideways, and another hinge right here on the hoofs. So yeah, I would guess that it would be better if they added like a ball joint right here, so it can add more aggressive stance on the horse. But maybe it's just me, and it's not really a big deal if it has a very limited articulation on this part here. Maybe they did it for stability purposes. I really don't know, but and they have a detailing here pretty much that you would see in the Madu horses that they release so far. There's a peg, ball peg right here. I mean a peg hole right here where you can attach some prop, whatever, that they will come up someday. Maybe a wing for Makai Night Dan. Who knows? So yeah, pretty much it has a very nice and dope ass design and details. It has the same articulation here on the hind legs. So mine is a little stiff right here, probably because mine is brand new, but I really don't want to force it. It might break. So that's the thing with these figures. Actually, they are more solid than the equipment prop, but I just want to be sure that, you know, I still take good care of them. You know, I handle it with care and all that. So that's pretty much it for the articulation and the details of the figure. If you're wondering if the equipment prop then can fit on this horse, let's do a quick test on this one. So we do have here the equipment prop human form then. So I took out the robe because I think it may hinder him from riding this horse, but I think it's doable. As you can see here, because the equipment prop joints are pretty much different from the Makai Kado line, and as you can see here, it can be a little bit tricky, especially if you're doing toy photography. But I think with proper angling and proper, you know, you just need to play with it. But it's really difficult, but it's doable, you know. As you can see, it's very doable. He can ride the Madu horse, as you can see. So let's do another test. So here's another test with the robe on. I just took out the hands and the head because it's kind of relevant to the test. But anyway, this is just to show you a quick view if it's doable or not, because as you can see here, the robe here is a little bit stiff, but it can bend. So again, if you're doing toy photography, I think it can be a little bit tricky, but I think it's doable in a way that you need to think of a better way to, you know, have this to bend like that, and you know, to keep it that way for like a minute or two before you can take the shot, because once you bend it, sometimes it goes back to, you know, to its original form, so it might hinder you from getting a nice detailed shot of this figure. So let's do one last test with the armor on with this figure. So here's the third test with the armor, the lower part of the armor attached to the figure. I just took out the parts, or I didn't add on the parts that's not really relevant to this test. So we just need to prove that this figure can sit on the horse, and it seems that it would be really it's doable, but it's a little bit tricky. But you won't be able to, you know, fully utilize the seat of this one because of the hindrance of the armor right here. It can do split as far as that, even if without this part here. Let me just take this out. You just need to be careful not to break this thing, because it's really hard to find these figures nowadays, and I'm not really sure how much this stuff costs right now. So I think if we will remove that part, you can have the figure sit accordingly, not accordingly, but you know, you can do that trick. You know, there's some gaps right here, but still it can do that. You just need to remove this and then attach it later on. You know, you can just use glue tack if you're doing toy photography, or display it on your shelf. It can be a little bit tricky, but you know, it can be done. So let's go ahead and use the original Makai Kado Dan for this particular figure. So here's the actual Makai Knight Dan sitting on his horse, and to be honest, it really requires a lot of patience and time by placing the figure into the Madu horse. It's really difficult. The ass doesn't rest well on the seat. Yeah, and it doesn't came with a holding. I just noticed that the figure and the horse didn't came with a holding things hand to hold this part here. So he's holding it very loosely here, right there. This is the actual weapon wielding hand of the figure. As you can see, it's really sculpted here. Unless you're gonna cut it with a cutter here so that he would be able to wield this. I'm not sure what this thing is called, but let's just call it a rope for the sake of this review. So yeah, it's really difficult. The figure doesn't really rest well on the seat. Yeah, as you can see, you see that. And I just noticed that there's also an articulation right here. This detailing here, as you can see, it moves. There's a ball joint right there, a single ball joint connected to the neck. It's really difficult. So yeah, it's not it's very tiring. It's not really a huge deal for me, but probably to some it may be. Yeah, so there you have it, folks. Makai Dan with the Madoba horse Hayate. So we do have here a size comparison between the three Makai Kado horses that they released so far. So we do have Ginga and Guten. They have pretty much the same scale. It only varies. Their height varies depending on the posability that you did on their hind legs. So that's pretty much it. But pretty much they have the same scale. They have some differences with the details and design, but overall they are just the same. Here they're really great, you know. They're really very well detailed figures. I really love them. Awesome figures. So here's another comparison with the Makai Kado Raigo figure. So as you can see, he's far more taller amongst all the Makai, the Madu horses that I have in my collection. This is indeed a sure ball storage eater. Yeah, so that's how big and tall this figure is. It's a very awesome figure too. It packs with details and designs, as you can see. So overall for this figure, it's a sure get. I'm not sure if I would still be able to purchase the upcoming releases that they will come up with, but you know, it will always be a sure get for me, especially if you're a fan of the Gara franchise. Yeah, if you are into action figure that comes with a very detailed and artistic designs, this is a figure for you. You can still check it out on your nearest hobby stores if you can still order it online. Yeah, while the price tag is still within the price range of the original, you know, released of this figure, then you know, might as well get it while supplies still last. So yeah, that's it for my review. Thanks for checking it out. You can check me out on Instagram as well. Please follow me on Instagram. You can please subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments or questions, just feel free to comment down below. So yeah, thanks for checking out my review, and until next time, guys.